As the introduction to this material or this presentation or these things I'm going to talk about, I want to explain why I've chosen to do this. A lot of the information I'm going to be talking about here is a lot of those teachings that have been passed down to me as an Anishinaabe. The family I was raised by, those old people that raised by, spoke very little English. And these ceremonies I'm talking about was pretty much a part of their life. And I saw this pretty much in everything that they did in their daily life. And these are the teachings that we were given as an Anishinaabe. And that these teachings do not belong to me. They belong to the Anishinaabe people. So that's why I have chosen to share these with our people. So these ceremonies and these teachings are not lost. And to make sure they're always there. And that's why I've come forward and talked about these. A lot of these teachings, also this taping, the material here I've talked about, it's a good tool for learning the language. You know, we have some immersion schools out there. I'm hoping that a lot of this information goes out there and is shared in those immersion school settings. Also, we have a lot of Anishinaabe people that have lost a lot of their teachings, that have moved away from their ways, and by offering this up, it's a way for a lot of our Anishinaabe people to learn our traditional ways. It's also, a lot of this information can be used by human service employees, reservation employees. Those who are working with our people are Anishinaabe. I have always said that if I worked in a community that I was not from, and they had a culture that I was not familiar with, I would do everything I could possibly do to learn about the culture of that particular community, about their ways, and to really know the people well that I'm going to be working for. So that's why I put this information forward. A lot of this material can be used for individual growth. A lot of this we talk about spiritual teachings, a spiritual way of life, how the Anishinaabe people looked and views this world, our traditional Anishinaabe. And I can help a lot of our people to grow spiritually. One thing about this knowledge that I'm sharing with you here too is also it's real. It's authentic Anishinaabe knowledge. It is not something I have created. All of these teachings were passed down to me. They existed for generations and generations. And this is what you'll be reading and being offered and being shown in this, or here in this tape, is what we were given as a people. And I'd like to see people that plan to use this information is not so much out of respect for me, but out of respect for the teachings that are being offered here to offer up their asema, to bring it up to me and give me a tobacco offering for all of these teachings, and also for Chato, and if we're no longer around, that's important. They just put their tobacco on and acknowledge how important these teachings are. A lot of times when you want to get information, some teachings about ceremony, usually what was always done, you would go and present tobacco to an elder, asking that they share that knowledge with you. So we want to be sure that that practice is continued, that these teachings come from the manidug, the spirits. So therefore we should continue that. The old tradition of tobacco, giving tobacco for this information, even though the information is being provided on tape. The other thing I worry about when sharing this information with people, especially in our community, in our Anishinaabe communities, there's a lot of damage that's been done in our communities to our individuals. And a lot of our Anishinaabe people out there have low self-worth, low self-esteem. And that's a result of the oppression, the things that we have gone through as a people. And as a result, we have individuals out there, or young men out there who have low self-worth. And they're always looking for different ways to promote themselves, to bring them up in the eyes of the people. And they'll get into, doing some of these ceremonies just to get that attention, that respect. This information is not to be used that way. It's not for personal gain. Any of this information is to be used to help our people and not to promote or for personal gain. I just want to stress how important that is. You got a lot of people out there that can deceive our Anishinaabe people. And you're going to hurt people by doing that, and probably hurt yourself. So, the other thing that I also wanted to talk about too is that a lot of our people have gotten away from their original teachings. There's so much pressure. There was so much pressure put on our people to abandon their teachings, their language, and our ceremonies. I just recently went to a funeral for one of my brothers. I was not raised with my biological family. But as I was there at that funeral, I could see how much damage had been done to my biological family. There were sisters in my family that just didn't really have any appreciation for this ceremony or even our teachings. They wouldn't even accept the tobacco that was passed out to them. That's how bad they have gotten. And that's what's happened in this society. There's a lot of our Anishinaabe people that are that way. And one of the things that I always say, and I'm sure they're going to find out, is that you can't adopt the teachings of another people or another culture. You're never going to be at peace within. Your spirit is in the Anishinaabe, the one that's inside here. And it's only our Anishinaabe teachings, our Anishinaabe way of life, that is going to bring peace to you within. If you get into another culture that's not yours, you're always going to feel like there's something missing, and you're not going to be at peace. And these teachings here that are covered here can only help you if you choose to learn them and apply them to your life. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but it's important for you to learn the Ojibwe language. I do a lot of ceremonies, most of them that are mentioned in this, that will be mentioned in this taping. And one of the things I find I get frustrated with is translating a lot of the Ojibwe that you use in explaining a particular ceremony. The English language just can't quite capture everything, all the teachings, all the spiritual depth in our teachings like the Ojibwe language does. So please learn the language. You miss out on so much. And then I was just ending by acknowledging our elders. It's because of them that we have a lot of these teachings left today. We had some elders that stood strong and then bowed down to that pressure to assimilate. They didn't bow down to that pressure to abandon our teachings, our culture, and our language. They stood strong, and that's why we have a lot of these teachings available today. And I also mentioned the teachings that was present in Mille Lacs I grew up with was as a child. The old people that raised me always told me, don't take, whatever you do not take the teachings or the beliefs or the religion of the white man. If you do, and at times when it's time for you to leave this world, you're not going to go where our people go. And that was so strong. That teaching was so strong within our community, our reservation of Mille Lacs. And that's why a lot of our ceremonies and language and teachings are still left today because of that teaching. That a lot of our Anishinaabe refused to bow to that pressure from the missionaries. I can always remember as a child them knocking at our doors, wanting to convert us and to abandon our teachings as Anishinaabe. So I'm grateful that we have all of this yet today. And I hope people will make good use of this. And there will be only good come out of this. And of course, we're going to have our haters out there. So be it. But I made a decision to put this out here to benefit our people. It's too valuable to let go or let us lose. The possibility exists that we could lose a lot of these teachings, and I don't want that to happen. Miigwech.